Hello and welcome to the Australian Gamer Show. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yug.
Tonight we're going to be talking about MMO ratings in Australia.
A new Left 4 Dead update.
And Aussie games for 2009.
For 2009, the year that we're in right now.
Is that like the most redundant thing you've ever said?
I don't know. I'm going to apologise in advance. I'm slightly off my game. I'm sick. I'm sick with the flu and I'm miserable and cranky. Cranky is a combination of grumpy and cranky.
Awesome.
I made a word.
Yes, and it's such a fine word it is. Yes, so that is Aussie games that are made in Aussie.
Yeah, we're going to start with that?
No, we might as well.
Alright. Yeah, this is actually something that I did an article on the site today. You should all go check it out. It's all about the games that are made by Australian developers that are coming out in 2009.
That would be AustralianGamer.com.
Yes, that's the one.
I think
need to plug our site by now.
Well, I think we do, because I think a lot of people who listen to the podcast are not that aware of the fact that there's a site involved. And I think it would be good to get some people at least to remember to look at the site.
Yes, and they will be better for it.
They will be, and we will. Everyone will be better.
Everyone will be happy.
Peace will descend upon the earth.
Yes! Anyway, games coming out in 2009. The reason I really wanted to write this article, and it took me quite a bit of time and research, was because a lot of the time, general gamers, us gamers, we're not quite aware of the games that are actually made in our own backyard. There is a large and enthusiastic and slowly dwindling, it seems, game development population in Australia. So, yeah, but I just wanted to highlight some of the games that are coming out. So I'm just going to list them as they go. If you want to comment on any of them, Matt, go ahead.
I will.
AFL.
Stupid.
Blade Kitten.
Sorry, did you want longer comments and more
no,
less
if that's
unhelpful?
all you feel like contributing, that's fine. AFL is made by Big Ant Studios. Blade Kitten. Edge of Twilight.
That one does look pretty good.
I think is still being made.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's all...
Well, I can't tell. The last update I had from Fuzzy Eyes, the developer, was them sending me a photo of a collage of all of them wearing a beer carton on their heads.
Was that what it was? A beer carton?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what that says.
Well, that was the response I got when I asked them, is everything okay? Have they lost their publisher? And they sent back that.
Right.
Which, to be honest, I think is actually the best PR response I've ever gotten to anything.
And it's also... it just goes to show how well respected and treated we are in the games industry.
Yes, I think that's great. The Godfather 2, this one's cheating a little bit. It's just the PC version that's being done by EA in Melbourne.
Cheating.
Heroes Over Europe, Interzone Football, which is just football. I think in not Spanish. That might be wrong. Brazil.
Which would be Portuguese.
Yes, Portuguese. So, but they're making it international soon. At the moment, it's in Portuguese and in beta, but it's a studio based in Perth, so it makes the list.
No, I'm fine with it. You just seem to be trying to justify it more. They're making a soccer game. It's currently for the Brazilian market.
It's an MMO soccer game.
It's a what?
That's great. It's an MMO soccer game.
I have a level 70 striker. What the fuck does that mean? How do you do an MMO soccer game?
Well, everyone joins and everyone is a different character in the soccer game. And then there's I think it actually might be Brazil that they've tried to recreate, so you can actually go and walk around in the town and do other stuff and play casual soccer games.
In the town of Brazil.
Yes.
God, I hate you so much.
I could be wrong, but hey, in my defense,
Brazil is a town? You could be.
No, I could be wrong about the content of the game, but in my defense, the whole fucking website's in Portuguese, so it was a little bit hard to figure out exactly what was going on. LA Noir, which, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Noir spelled N-O-I-R?
Yeah,
right.
Generally,
they spell it with N-O-I-R-E. Does that make sense?
I think N-O-I-R is one language and N-O-I-R-E is another. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Like one's French and one's German or something like that. Someone will undoubtedly correct
I actually had this discussion with a guy called Dan at work today, and he did say that we should go by the fact that in the Mighty Boosh, it's Vince Noir, and it's spelled N-O-I-R, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yes. Everything comes down to the Mighty Boosh.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. But that game is a Sydney studio called Team Bondi, and they've been in development since 2003.
Yeah, that game's been in development for an awful long time, and very, very little has been said about it.
Yeah, which
there hasn't been much, because I believe it's a PlayStation 3 exclusive.
It is, and
it's a very, very quiet one, which is unusual.
But it's being
for
published by Rockstar.
Is it? I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
interesting.
So initially, and the guys behind it are actually the guys that did The Getaway.
Right.
At Soho, Sony Soho Studios.
It's also, as far as I understand, which is a fairly limited information on this, but one of the biggest Australian games. Like, they actually were paid quite a lot of money. Someone was on our forum was saying large amounts of money.
I tried to chase this up and figure out exactly how much, but initially when they moved back from England and set up the studio, they did a deal with Sony to produce 3 PlayStation 3 exclusive titles, and they got paid a shitload of money. And now they're not Sony, now they're to Rockstar. So it's just weird, and we kind of know nothing about it. And now that Rockstar's publishing it, there's no chance I'm going to be able to talk to the developer directly.
Yeah,
so
damn it.
Should have got in there earlier.
Should have.
But Mad Max, based on the upcoming Fury Road movie. This one I don't have much information on.
Hang on, based on the what?
The upcoming Fury Road.
Is that what it's called?
Mad Max Fury Road.
Road of Fury.
Road of Fury.
Awesome.
Well, actually, Fury Road. It's actually a road that's
just one road.
Actually, come to think of it, there's no real way to actually. Fury Road doesn't really work as a word, does it?
It's just kind of clumsy.
Yeah. Road of Fury would make sense.
Road of Fury kind of has that, balls
Mad
of
Max
steel
Road
kind of
Fury.
Yeah, but Fury Road. It
Fury Road.
Sounds like where you lived when you were a kid. Oh, remember the little house on Fury Road with the picket fence?
It actually sounds a little bit more kind of Fury Lane, sort of like Fury.
Yeah.
Fury Crescent, Fury Street, Mad Max Fury Street.
Now you could put house on Fury Road.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that would be where Mad Max lives because he has so much.
Which
fury.
Would make sense.
That would be more dramatic
because the age of Mel Gibson would mean he would have to retire by now.
Yeah, he'd have a little
But
house.
Mel Gibson isn't in the movie or the game.
No.
But yeah, it's so there's that. I'll just keep going through the list. There's an N-Gage game called Mega Monsters for Samo, Monster Jam Urban Assault, which I don't know anything about because I don't know anything about monster trucks. Neopets Puzzle Adventures, or I like to call Puzzle Quest Lite. Galactrix, which I like to call Puzzle Quest in Space.
Because it is.
Because it is. Real Racing, a iPhone game, which looks really interesting. Check out the video. Stormrise, which is the game that I'm working on at the moment, which should be good. RTS on a console. Trains, 2009, from Orin. Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen,
which is
Wii and PlayStation 2 version is being made by Chrome Studios here in Australia, based on the movie. And World of Outlaws, pretty much the spiritual successor to the sprint car games or Power Slide and those kind of games that Ratbag Studios used to work on before they were closed.
Connected with them?
No.
Like former Ratbagians, or?
Well, I don't know. They kind of, as far as I know, a lot of former Ratbagians kind of were turned into Chrome Adelaide Studios. Yeah. And this one's actually Big Ant, based in Melbourne. So I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But yeah, look, it's interesting. There are a lot of decent titles coming out in 2009, actually made by Australian studios. So I think that's cool. That's my little rant.
I think Stormrise is probably going to be of those. Would Stormrise, do you think, be the biggest?
I can't say. I can't.
Because I've seen a lot of stuff about Stormrise lately. Like I've seen it on the front of PlayStation Magazine, and I've seen it on front of a bunch of magazines and so on, and I can't tell if it's just because it's around me that I'm seeing it so much, because we know people who work at it. Yug works there, and it's kind of around a fair bit, but I don't know, is everyone else as aware of it as me, or is it?
I can't say either. I mean, I work there, so everyone's talking about it every day, but look, it's the first kind of serious RTS that's kind of trying to do. Because I've always liked the
RTS genre in general, but
have you?
Yeah, no, I used to play. I got into the RTS genre way back in June 2 days, which I still think is largely unsurpassed as a way to lose weeks of time. And then I got into the Command and Conquer and the Westwood sort of.
Did you ever play StarCraft?
Yeah, I did a bit. You and I played StarCraft, remember? We used to play occasionally. Yeah, God, I hate you so much.
I
you have no memory at all. We used to at work a couple of times, not often, but a couple of times at work we set up games, and you played as the Protoss and I played as the Zerg.
Yes.
And it always started out iffy. I I have very fond memories of getting one guy and just... You were Marines for some reason, I think because we banned you from playing Protoss. And I went and took one guy, or like two guys, this tiny little squad of Zerg thingies. And I bashed one of your buildings and then ran the fuck away. And you were actually dumb enough to chase me, which I thought was interesting. And you chased me with this huge squad, and my guys just about got away. But right as my guys died, I made all my guys that were under the sand. Under the ground. I had this huge swarm of them under the ground, and it just came up and shredded your guys. That was I then got the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah, I'd imagine you
because I'd invested all my time in setting this stupid trap. But
I did. You know what? I gotta be honest. I like those kind of strategies in RTS games. I know I'm not going to win, but I'm gonna do something that's kind of stupid and fun.
Yeah.
Like for example, I used to love in the original Command and Conquer stealth tanks. I actually did an entire game where I built nothing but stealth tanks. It was there were 4 players in the map, nothing but stealth tanks, and no one really attacked me because I wasn't attacking anyone else.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the game, there was one person that had huge army, and they came down to wipe me out. They just found my tiny little base.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'd taken all my stealth tanks and just strategically surrounded his entire base with them, and then all of a sudden and there were shitloads of them. That's all I'd done. Stealth tanks are not hardcore vehicles or anything like that. They die easily, but all his units were down attacking my tiny little base. I lost, but it didn't matter because it was awesome.
It was a moral victory.
Yeah, exactly. And then the best bit is when you've got one stealth tank and they have to kill it. You can't find the fucking thing.
Yeah, because the only thing better than winning is losing by pissing someone off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It will be interesting to see how Stormrise goes. It's not that doesn't look like that kind of tiny units sort of game that I think of as the RTS. It's a bit more sort of full spectrum warrior-y.
Actually,
that's the game.
The way I kind of like to describe it is, it feels like what an RTS would be if it was in an arcade cabinet in an arcade. Do you know what I mean? It feels...
Yeah, no, not at all.
Well, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but you've played it and I haven't.
Okay, fine. I got nothing else to say. I don't know how much I should say about this kind of stuff either.
No,
I should be kind of careful. Anyway, Matt's actually coming in to Creative Assembly next week, so you can have some hands-on time and listen to Matt.
And then I'll go, you know what? This is it's kind of like if you had an arcade cabinet with
an
arcade.
Yeah, okay. What else do we want to talk about? I was just about to say Left 4 Dead stuff.
Left 4 Dead.
Because, let's be honest, everyone plays Left 4 Dead.
Everyone plays Left 4 Dead. It's still amazingly popular. The number of people that I talk to online who are I've got to go now and play Left 4 Dead for a while. It's sort of started off quite popular and has continued
to be quite popular.
To retain its popularity.
Yeah, funny enough, I've actually played Left 4 Dead a bit, but not as much as I wanted to lately because I've been playing other games. But I don't know what the update stuff is. You do.
Well, there's some new content coming to it in the form of a new survival mode for the existing game, which I guess is just a different mode. It's not adding a whole bunch of new content. There's also new ways of playing some of the existing campaigns. Yep. And they're putting in a system whereby people can make their own campaigns now as well, which is interesting. I'm not that sure how that's going to work, but it's
So as in you can choose your own levels that you want to go through? Or?
I'm not sure. I think maybe a bit more than that. But
is this the kind of poorly researched news thing that would...
No, this is me trying to bluster through the fact that I've actually never played it. So I read a bunch of shit, but I didn't know what it meant.
You've never played Left 4 Dead?
No.
Do you know, as I recall, there was a moment where Yahtzee actually offered to buy it for you just so you would play it with us.
I don't recall that. I've certainly never heard Yahtzee say anything about spending money.
Yeah.
I think if that did happen, and it's possible because I remember you guys were playing it here, I probably said no because I could hear the amount of abuse that Yahtzee was getting despite having clearly never played it.
Yeah.
We were like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you going that way?
Actually, to be fair, I think a lot of abuse was aimed at me. Because I
was.
constantly kept shooting my teammates.
Yahtzee played it a bit, but you hadn't played it.
Fuck the game. You should not be able to shoot your teammates. Seriously. If you shoot a teammate, it shouldn't take health off them. That is annoying. That is fucking annoying, and I hate it. It should not be a mechanic of the game.
Do you know what happens when you shoot a person?
What?
The bullets go like into them.
Yeah.
The bullets don't stop and check.
It's a game. I'm trying to escape the real world, not like, have an accurate portrayal of it.
I know, but...
They're zombies! What happens when you shoot a zombie? You don't know because they don't fucking exist.
Hey, they do. And you're going to be the first... Oh, I was going to say you're going to be the first to have your brains eaten, but you're probably safe.
Fuck you. Alright, well that's the Left 4 Dead stuff. You know what? Talking about Steam stuff...
No. Talking about zombies.
Right.
Dead Rising 2 has been announced.
Oh, okay. You
yeah, so I had a segue and I wanted to keep
Well, now
going
my
with
next
that.
segue is fucked, man, so thanks a lot for that.
What do you need to go for your next...
Steam.
Okay, we'll get it back to Steam.
Okay, see you later.
Yeah, no, Dead Rising 2 is coming, and they don't have an announced time. It's going to be set in the city of Fortune City, which is exactly
pretty much
like
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, unless they're going to sue.
It does, the Grand Theft Auto thing, pretty much, where it's the actual city of the real city, but all the names are different.
Yeah, and pretty probably much in a parodying way.
Yeah, exactly. But look, I liked the first
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising. I thought it was an awesome game that was very, very flawed. Did anyone actually finish Dead Rising beyond the point where you could get the helicopter? I love the part where you could actually just hide in a cupboard for 3 days and then catch the helicopter and you finish the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
But there was a whole extra section sort of thing. So when the helicopter arrived, there was like the Marine... I can't remember. The Marines came in and you had to go back in to try and go through the hardcore part of the game. It was just annoying because you spent the whole game attacking zombies, these slow-moving creatures, and then all of a sudden you're expected to fight SWAT.
Why are you fighting the SWAT?
I can't remember. This was a while ago. I have fragmented
memories. You realise
memories.
They're generally on your side, right?
Yes, but they weren't in this case.
Okay.
I think it was like a cover-up thing.
Okay. Possibly the government wanted to use the zombies for to make some sort of super soldier.
That would
they
never
always
happen.
try to do that.
Where would you get that idea from?
I don't know.
Only ever movie you've ever watched.
I've never watched a movie. But yeah, it's there's no specific announcement of when
I'm glad they've announced Dead Rising 2 because frankly I was rather uninspired by the looks of Dead Rising on the Wii.
Well, it's because it's on the Wii. I mean, that's a bad start.
Well, no. The issue is that Dead Rising's always been a game about being surrounded by like hundreds of zombies, yes, and the Wii can't render that many zombies.
There's a horde of 2.
Yeah, the screenshots are like, check out all the zombies. There's like 2 of them on the screen at any one time. Oh my god, you're gonna die.
It's a swarm.
Because you can't control your character properly.
Yeah.
Because you keep twitching.
Speaking of twitching, have you played the
Come on, you can do it.
Yeah, I'm
work it.
I'm having a mental blank.
Come on.
Resident Evil 5 demo?
I have not. Have you?
Yeah, I downloaded it for
the
Xbox 360. I'd forgotten how much of a bitch it is to control Resident Evil games.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure I'll play it. I think I'll get it and I'll play it. But I loved 4.
You loved 4,
awesome.
Yeah. Does this feel like 4 or?
Well, I think it probably does. But now I'm wondering if maybe 4 sucked as well. And I wasn't aware of it.
Because a lot of people actually gave high praise to 4. A lot of people that hated the
Resident
Evil series.
No, it's widely regarded and widely respected, but I don't know, I've just found it really annoying in some ways.
Well, look, I mean, surely just playing Resident Evil 4 it's a good way to let off some steam.
Ah!
And speaking of Steam, the reason I haven't been playing much Left 4 Dead lately is because I've been playing Fallout 3. It's a frustration that we've got quite often in that we usually can't play games that we're not reviewing because we should be playing games that we're supposed to review. So Fallout 3 is one I really want to play. So I got it on Steam, started playing it, and I want to talk to you about this. I kind of realized something. I don't really like it.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it, so
I just feel
I
feel controversial by saying this because it's just such a gamer's game and everyone loves it. But the longer I play it in any given session, the more bored I get. I think it's not the game. Maybe it's just the RPG open world environment genre. But I actually really hate the fact that I've just escaped from the vault. I've got to find my father. Let's go to this city and talk to the people. And you talk to the people, and they're like, "Oh yes, well I know where your father is," and do this errand. And then you've got to get experience, so you go and talk to someone else who says, "Can you help me find my robot?" And you go to a different town. Oh, can you get samples of this thing? And it's convoluted. If it's following the story, I'm desperately trying to search for my father, and yet the game keeps trying to distract me to do all these side missions.
This is a long-established thing with RPGs, that you pretty much end up having to, from your greater mission, the greater direction, you kind of end up having to, instead of going in a straight line, everyone you go to who could give you the key instead gives you a quest to collect his washing off the line. And you think, can't you get your own washing? And the fate of the fucking world is dependent on me here. Give me the key or I will pummel your face.
I don't remember it being... Well, actually, the good thing is in Fallout 3, if you don't want to do the mission, you can just kill the character and get the thing you're after.
Sweet.
But I want to be good. I don't want to be a bad guy. I'm a good guy.
No, bad is better.
You do get to blow up an entire fucking town as a bad guy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't played the game, but that sequence is pretty famous.
Yeah.
One of the larger moral decisions people are expected to make in a game. Like, a lot of the time it's just, do you want to kill this ambiguously bad man or not? But no, do you want to nuke a city?
It's kind of like the other side of it is like the sheriff who's the token black guy in the town sort of thing is like, hey, we'd really like it if you defuse the bomb and it'd be awesome. And this other dodgy, shady guy in a suit with like 80s sunglasses is like, if you blow up the bomb, you will be handsomely rewarded and all this kind of thing. It's like, cool.
Handsomely rewarded with what?
You get a luxury penthouse.
Sweet.
And you get lots of money, and you die in a coughing fit, apparently.
Sweet.
Sorry, like I said, dying, flu. Sorry. But yeah, anyway, I guess it's frustrating me a little bit because I want to like it so much, and thankfully I've heard that the story gets a bit more interesting later on once you find your father, and cool, I'll keep playing it. But I remember games like the Final Fantasy games. They are RPG games, and everything you do in those games is kind of focused on the story in a roundabout way.
While they're broadly RPG, I couldn't really see them any further apart while still staying in the RPG genre.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretty different.
I think I don't like open world RPG.
Jesus. Stuff came out, that one.
Yep.
It's really gross.
It's really bad when you cough so much that you then have to swallow afterwards.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Seeing as we're talking about games we're playing, I've been playing a bunch of Killzone 2.
Yep.
Which I wanted to bring up as well.
Let me just bring something up now.
Jesus. We could pause this,
No,
we
it's
could
all good.
stop and you could just die on your own time.
I'm
Because this
great.
is an awesome podcast.
No, I'm great. Thank you for looking out for my well-being, Matt.
I don't give a shit about your well-being, and I never have. I'm just worried about the weird sounds going to the mic.
Killzone 2, come on, let's talk Killzone, killing in the zone of...
Yeah, Killzone 2 is a game that I think everyone remembers it being played at E3 like 2005.
Yeah, the big ships as they're coming down.
And it was really impressive to the point where everyone went, really? That's really real time?
Yep.
And they said, yes! And then later admitted, well, no.
Not quite.
It's not actually real time. It's like rendered based on projected specifications or something like that.
They were fairly ambiguous about it.
But it actually does look that good now, like given the years they've worked on it since, and the real time now does look like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really, really impressive game. It's just the most generic bullshit macho game I've ever played in my life. It's just... I mean, for a start...
It's almost impressive,
I know. It's like they've made generic itself somehow generic. It's quite bizarre, and it's... I mean, it's not without fun.
Yeah.
You run around and you shoot things in the face. That's just fun.
Yep.
And it's really, really polished. Like, it looks exceptionally good. It's very, very pretty. It's very well executed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, there's just something about it. Like,
Are you far through it so far, or?
No, I'm only a couple of levels in. I think that I've gotten past because there's a demo of it on the PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, guys, just download it yourself.
Yep.
Unless you don't have a PlayStation 3, in which case you don't care anyway. But
I was actually, this is going to sound extremely naive to any PlayStation 3 users, but I always got Resistance 2 and Resistance 2 and Killzone 2 confused. To me, they're both sci-fi, first-person, very, very pretty shooters.
Yeah, well, you could say the same of Halo or
Haze kind of. The one thing to me that stood out about Resistance 2 was the guns and the weapons were quite unique and interesting. Whereas in this Killzone 2, they seem to be.
They're just guns. They're machine guns and you shoot things. I've yet to see if maybe they get a bit more interesting later on. Resistance. The other thing about Resistance 2 is it had quite a bit of colour and quite a bit of depth of
it did.
variety
of massive giant monsters and things like that. Yep.
And enemies, and so far I haven't seen a lot.
Right.
The enemies in this all look like Nazis. And all have English accents, which is kind of hilarious, and offends Yahtzee, which is a bonus.
Well, I mean that's appropriate. Is English Nazis?
English Nazis, yep.
Yeah. Because, English are always the bad guys, right?
Yeah, and Nazis are the bad guys. So
that's just in keeping with the whole Star Wars theme of bad guys, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. What's with that?
I don't know.
Star Wars, I'd never really noticed it until it was pointed out. And
all the bad guys in Star Wars talk with British accents.
They're all highly British.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not relevant.
No.
The point is I'm not finding Killzone 2 to be amazingly exciting.
Well, okay, fair enough. I wasn't sure if you would anyway, but yeah. You're going to play it, though. You're going to play it.
I'll play through and I'll review it. And I'm hoping it does more because at the moment it's just dilapidated building, dilapidated building, dilapidated building, dilapidated building.
It's kind of weird when you play these games that are in these like Fallout 3 or Killzone 2. They're in these environments, these levels which are supposed to be depressing. They're supposed to be these post-apocalyptic or ruined, battered, war-torn areas. And let's be honest, those kind of areas are just really bleak and really down and stuff like that.
I like when games try to get some variety to their levels. And sometimes it's kind of artificial.
Don't get me wrong, you don't want to go the other way where you've got Halo 3 that's just bloom and little running Ewoks things sort of thing.
What?
Little things.
Oh, right, those
the bad guys. And they're all colourful. They're all purples and greens and stuff.
There's colour in them and stuff, but I'm finding that, I don't know, I'm really hoping that it's not like I want it to be like a platform game. You know how platform games, there's it's the lava level, it's the jungle level.
Yeah.
That's just really common, and I wouldn't ever want to see the FPS go to that degree, but surely there's jungle or something. There's got to be something, somewhere else we can go.
To differentiate things. Snow. It'd be
snow.
You know what would be cool? If those areas, if they did, I don't know, maybe they do. Do they snow, or is there a full-on rainstorm or something like that, or I don't know.
Well, I think exactly that kind of thing would add a lot.
Yeah.
But I will be hopeful that they do, but I don't have a lot of hope. No, that makes no sense because I just contradict myself. It would be good if they did that, but I don't have much hope.
There you go. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want them to do the Joel Schumacher Batman thing where they just take it to its comical extreme just because they want to do something different.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, we got one more topic that we did want to talk about, and that is MMO Australian ratings. This was an issue that was actually brought up a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
By the way, apologies for not doing last week's podcast.
I was just going to say that. Scheduling issues, mostly my fault.
Mine too. It just didn't work out. Sorry, kids.
Sorry, kids.
But yeah, World of Warcraft. There was a thing that was brought up by a Sydney Morning Herald columnist that MMO games aren't actually rated in Australia. The retail copies of games like World of Warcraft and Age of Conan and all those kind of games, they don't have a rating because they're MMO. And in Australia, anything to do with multiplayer or online
multiplayer,
they say this game cannot be rated, or
something along the lines. Experience changes during online play.
Yeah, that's right. So it can't actually be rated. And the point was made that if the retail game isn't rated, how can it actually be sold?
Because that's what actually happens when a game is banned in Australia, is that they refuse to give it classification. A game that doesn't have a classification must can't be solved.
Yeah.
So how can you just say we didn't bother getting a classification, but we're going to sell it anyway?
Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, the last thing we want is for all MMO retail games to be pulled off the shelves.
No.
But on the flip side, this kind of thing is exactly
it's a bit of a bizarre loophole
that would bring attention to the flawed games rating system as it is.
Yeah, the thing that bothered me was actually the police. The police commissioner for New South Wales, I think, was basically saying, if you see companies selling these games, please contact us and report them. I'm thinking it's just as well all crimes in New South Wales have been solved, and the police have massive resources to devote to fucking MMOs.
Well,
because they're a bigger problem than murder, certainly.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I had nothing
Thanks
to
for
back
going
that
with
up.
me on that, by the way.
Sorry,
I really appreciate it.
I was trying to play devil's advocate, but I actually had nothing to go with there.
Yeah,
no. But yeah, look, the other thing is that EB Games actually they issued a response saying this is ridiculous. As far as we know, we're not doing anything illegal. And Activision Blizzard actually gave a statement saying Blizzard Entertainment and its affiliates work very closely with the Interactive Entertainment Association of Australia to ensure that we are in full compliance with Australian law as it relates to the distribution and operation of our games, including World of Warcraft. We'd like to reassure all of our players that World of Warcraft is currently and has always been distributed and operated legally in Australia. That kind of puts to rest that argument. But it's still just...
But it does leave open a valid argument, which is that...
Just not one that we really want to argue with, though.
No, I actually do. I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, the games should be banned in Australia because they're not rated. Well, you know what? They should be rated. Why are they not being rated? I know the gaming experience can be changed online, but you could say the same about any game on the Xbox 360 that you play on live.
But that's why they don't rate those experiences. But
why don't they rate then? Why do they rate Xbox Live games?
Fact is, there still is a lot of content that is not influenced by other players, which is worth rating. Like there's bits in World of Warcraft where, you go on quests and NPC characters and levels and all this kind of thing. I would not say World of Warcraft, regardless of player interaction, it's not a G-rated game.
No, I would.
At the very least, I would think like PG or something like that.
Like I've let my son play it. He plays it quite a bit actually, but I certainly wouldn't see it as a G. I would think it would be maybe PG, maybe M, because there are actually certain things where you like torture people and stuff like that.
Cool.
Some of the later quests, some of the early quests in Ice Crown, actually, you actually torture, and there was a bit of controversy over that. Now, things are always rated at the peak of what they have. Like if everything in a movie is G-rated except for one scene of extreme violence, that's gonna push it to the top of that. They're not going to say a G average.
Yeah.
So I would think that World of Warcraft would probably get an M by that standard.
Yeah.
But I don't see why it can't be rated. Yes, the experience will change, but there's a core gameplay and a core content that should be rated.
Well, maybe because the classification board would have to put a lot of time into playing that game to figure out.
Well, you can say the same about any game. I mean,
that's true.
If they're going to watch a 10-minute video, they're going to watch a 10-minute video of an MMO or a 10-minute video.
Maybe it's also because the actual content changes on a regular basis, updated with patches.
The content is updated with patches, but maybe that will have to be submitted.
But the content out of the box is, that on the disc.
Well, I would think if the content could change the rating, then it probably should be re-rated, or at least run by the censorship board.
By the way, just on the topic of R18 and things like that, because we love talking about this thing, did you see on the forums, there's an actual post, there's a demonstration.
Cosplay
for a cause.
That's right.
In Adelaide, they're going to storm the steps of Parliament in cosplay outfits to protest the lack of an R18 rating in Australia.
A few of the people on the forums have been quite critical of this movement, and while saying they agree with the concept of doing stuff, it basically just makes it look like gamers are freaks and a minority, rather than the point being that the vast majority of people are gamers.
Yeah,
make us look like a minority.
Look, I'm loath to actually tell people don't do something, or to tell people not to do something, but I wouldn't think that anyone under the age of 18 should go to that kind of rally or rating or thing. And I have a feeling that
they missed the point.
They missed the point.
Yeah.
And B, going to an event going to a thing like that to try and prove how adult most gamers are by dressing up in costumes is not the right message to get across.
No, I appreciate the concept, and I appreciate the fact that game traders. Oh, game traders. Sorry, you're right. The game traders are the ones that are sponsoring it and supporting it.
Surely they could do other things though to be a bit more proactive. I actually had a thought. What if places like game traders, they actually put posters up or like flyers or did these massive campaigns saying, protect the children, we need an R18 rating.
Yeah, I think that I've often thought that would be a better tack for Australians to take.
What if you actually said, video games are dangerous, they're unproven, we don't know if they affect our children, and because there's no R18 rating, our kids are actually getting hold of games that should be only for over 18s, but they're actually slipping through the cracks. Because there is no system. Stop this now, and I don't know, just something like that.
No, I know what you mean. I've often thought that was a better approach in general than saying we should have the freedom.
Simply because that's the approach that people like Michael Atkinson take. I'm protecting the children. So are we.
Yeah. Because I've always found it interesting that you take a game like GTA 4 and you go, okay, people no longer leave blood pools when they die, and blah, 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 one or two other things.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is now entirely suitable for children.
You can't see sex scenes.
You know what? That game is not suitable for children. You can take out those little details all you like. It is an adult-themed game, and it should be suitable only for adults.
Yep.
It should be only played by adults. And avoiding that point by just giving it a lower rating because you removed minor features is really missing the point.
Yep. Cool. Well, look, we're going to start to wrap things up. I do want to say we are, by we I mean me, Matt, and Yahtzee are talking at Game On, the Game On night tomorrow night. It's the last one in Brisbane because Game On actually ends this Sunday. We'll be showing Game Damage, the pilot, on a big screen, and then blathering on about stuff after that, probably doing a bit of Q&A or stuff like that.
If you want to come, make sure you buy tickets online. I think they're still available, but 2 weeks ago, we had a bunch of people wanting to head out, and quite a few tried, including us, tried to buy tickets at the door, and they simply were no longer available.
They sold out about an hour before the event even started, and this is going to be the last one, so I think there could be a decent amount of people turning up. There's also Steve Staminatis from Chrome Studios, creative director, and the guy that actually invented Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. He'll be talking there as well. Plus, you can get drunk and play games. I want to play Bomberman, by the way. I want to get drunk and play Bomberman.
Okay.
I don't care if I have a flu. I'm going to get drunk.
Yeah, whatever. Are you done with the Game On thing?
Yeah.
All right. I actually also just wanted to say, and I know it's really out of the context of gaming entirely, but there's a lot of people on our forums from Melbourne and from Victoria, and there's quite a few people who've lost their homes. And there's at least one guy who came home and found that his home was one of the few remaining in his town.
Jesus.
To all those who lost friends in some cases, lost homes, lost possessions, you have our deepest and sincerest sympathies.
Yeah, absolutely. I do encourage, there's been quite a few things going around a lot of the gaming websites recently as well, encouraging everyone to actually donate to the Red Cross and everything like that. I think there was actually a clan, Game Arena, that pulled together like almost $3,000.
Yeah, there's been
which is really cool.
Quite an impressive amount of money donated, but there's an incredible amount of damage done and so on.
Am I correct in actually saying I think it's the worst bushfire
in the world?
In the world?
Yeah,
ever,
it's the worst bushfire. It's the worst fire damage in the world, and it's the worst event in peacetime in Australia.
Jesus.
180 people dead now, I think.
Yeah.
At time of hearing this, so yeah, that's pretty sucky, and don't want to end it on a downer. So apologies.
But
to,
you did.
to
but
people in America who don't care. But yeah, well, I mean, in America, by comparison, they had the California wildfires and so on. But the damage done by those, I think, in the United States, they lost something like 3 times the. No, actually, sorry. was about a quarter of the amount of like land damaged. But 5 people died. That's the difference. There's about 180 here so far.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, and they think the death toll could rise as high as 300.
It's disturbing to know that apparently it was actually started by arson.
Some of it was. There were so many fires.
Yeah.
Some of them were started by arson.
Yeah.
And the worst thing was there were places, I mean, if that's not bad enough, there were places where they stopped the fires, got rid of the fires, and came back to people having started them again.
What the fuck? Why? I don't understand that at all. Why?
Well, I mean, they're arsonists. That's a factor.
Yeah.
They want the fire, so they're not really all there, I suspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're being quite thoroughly pursued. Every fire is being treated as a crime scene.
Yep. Which would be kind of frustrating, actually, because all the evidence is kind of burned.
Yeah, it would be hard.
Away.
I guess there are forensic teams who investigate this kind of stuff.
They would actually specialise in those sort of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, no, look, yeah, absolutely. Deep sympathies to anyone that actually knows anyone that's been affected directly by this as well. And yeah, if you've got some money to, throw towards it, go to the Red Cross website, do it.
Also, blood donations are needed.
Are they?
I'm giving blood on Monday.
Cool.
I wasn't using it.
No.
So.
No.
I don't like oxygen being carried to my tissues anyway.
No.
I think it's really overrated.
Really?
I wasn't using my brain, so I figure any blood that would normally go up there, I'll just give that to the Red Cross.
I'm really depressed now. Can we need to end this podcast because it's.
I'm trying to find a way to segue from that to something zany.
No, because there's no way you can segue up from that without sounding inconsiderate.
Yeah, it would be. Don't you hate when they do that on the news though? They're like 10,000 dead in Yemen in a terrible landslide.
And
here's a kitten.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, you know what I hate more than fucking anything? I saw this sunrise thing. Yeah, you. Okay, second to that. They were like interviewing one of the guys who his family was caught in the bushfires. He didn't know if they were alive, and the chick that was interviewing was just like, how do you feel? Are you okay? And he's like, yeah, it's just terrible. And it's 5 minutes of her basically just going, how do you feel? It's like, for fuck's sake, this isn't journalism. This is just exploiting the situation, and it made me angry. And I usually don't give a shit about that kind of thing, but it made me angry.
It would be awesome to have the presence of mind to go, fucking great, how you doing, babe? How you doing? What's up? And then when she goes, really? No! Fuck off and die, bitch. My family is possibly dead.
Alright, that's about as enthusiastic as we're going to get to sign off from this podcast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see a lot of you tomorrow night, and we'll talk to you next week.
Should be a fun night. So if you're hearing this and you're not planning on joining us, you're going to miss out.
Yeah.
That's it.